Hey everyone, Ryan Young, KAATARO Jiu-Jitsu. I hope you're doing well. Today's video, let's do on hacking your brain, right? Now it's a common cliche that a lot of us have heard, especially those who look into self-improvement type topics. How do you hack your brain? Make your brain do something that it's not normally wired to do. Because a lot of times, you think about the most successful people. They're not people who just kind of get along. They kind of blaze their own path. And to blaze your own path, you're going to need to do stuff that you've never done before. And if you think of, I just got back from taking a walk over to the lake, and there are trails, right, that people walk on to get to the lake. A lot of what we do is on a trail, right? We just, without even thinking, just continue on that path, and we come back, and we go on, and we come back, and we come on. But there's so much on the sides for you to see that, if you step off the beaten path, you might discover something that nobody has recently seen or figured out, right? So what Jiu-Jitsu is, for almost everyone, is something that has nothing to do with instinct. It has everything to do with reason. So when you're doing something, for instance, like who instinctively does a shrimp exercise? I never did. It's not something that's instinctive. Or, when you think about it, when somebody's mounted on you and they're punching your face, your instinct is to put your hands up to block the punches, right? Your instinct is not to escape the position. It's to stop the punches with your hands, not stop the punches with your body. So when I say stop the punches with your body is, hip escape out, or oopa, right? The first things that I tell people as an example, trying to, when you're mounted, is first thing is always, keep your elbows in, right? Don't let your elbows come out. If your elbows come out, they can mount you high, and get their knees under your armpits, which is what you don't want, right? So when that happens, and if you have your elbows in, meaning they're sitting on your hips now because they can't go underneath your arms, and they throw a punch, you oopa, right? When you oopa, they're either going to fall forward and land on their hands with your hips in the air, or they're going to do what I call riding you, meaning they're going to just float up, and so that they don't go forward, right? And then from there, you just do a hip escape, right? So, but in the meantime, none of those actions were in necessarily blocking a punch, raising your hands to block a punch. Now, there are ways to do it, in a more advanced level, to use your hands to block the punch while you're doing the other stuff. But, the very first things we teach beginners are to avoid bad positions with your body, not with your hands, right? Or, if you're doing seatbelt, if somebody's got seatbelt on you, they've got your back, and they're choking you from the back. I teach them to not use their hands to stop the choke, rather use your body, right? So, that's very counter to instincts, right? Like I said, everybody who's never done jiu-jitsu, once you wrap an arm around their neck, their instinct is to grab your arm and try to prevent you from or stop you from choking them. It doesn't work, we'll choke right through that. So what we have to do is then reason, okay, it doesn't work for me to use my hands to stop the choke. Instead, I need to use my body to get out of the position so the choke disappears. So that's one of the things you're gonna need to hack your brain to be successful in jiu-jitsu. You're gonna need to do stuff that you never thought you would have had to do, right? And when somebody's swinging a stick at you, right, normally you turn and run the other way. Or when you're having to close a distance with a puncher with a guy who's actively trying to punch your face, close your eyes, right? Close your eyes as you're going in, or bow your head down, right? If you bow your head down, they can knee you in the face, or they can shove your head to the ground, right? And then you won't be able to stop it, Or if you close your eyes, do you think when you're closing the distance on somebody's punching you, do you think when you close your eyes that he's not going to be there anymore? Right? Just because you can't see him, he's going to disappear? Of course not, right? But that's instinct. So we need to learn how to go against instinct to be successful in jiu-jitsu. So that's why, jiu-jitsu is such a challenge for us, because a lot of the things that we normally do doesn't work. In fact, it makes things worse. So we have to learn, and that's why people thrive in this, like, you know, wow, that's so cool, you know, I never knew that, right? So you telling me that if I actually, you know, do this, then it'll prevent me from getting punched in the face? Yeah, right? You know, because everybody's used to the old karate and stuff, you block it, right? You know, block, 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 you know, and wax on, wax off, right? But a lot of times that's not necessarily what you want, right? I know Bruce Lee, you know, I remember watching a video of him, you know, trying to deal with somebody who's trying to punch you. And it was like how, what he did, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it had to do when somebody punched him, he would move in a certain way so that he would not only parry the punch, at the same time he'd punch you back, right? So not just blocking it. He would block and move in a certain way where coincident with the block was a strike, right? And that's kind of like what we have to do. We have to, you know, get our brains thinking that it's not the path that we're off and on. We're going to have to go off of the path from what our normal body and brain wants to do. So be open to all that. You know, those of you who are brand new learning jiu-jitsu, be open to that possibility. And you know, you can get a lot of this type of thinking and a lot of examples on our website, Kama Jiu-Jitsu Online. And you know, especially in the white to blue curriculum, and especially in the red ladder portion, where you know, we're showing you how to get out of worst position and seat belt and mount and cross side and all those things, right? Those are defensive positions, meaning your opponent is in the offensive position. And you know, to get out of stuff, you know, if you're brand new, you'll know, right? You'll know, oh shit, you know, I'm going to do this. But once you learn, you'll realize, you know, that initial reaction was completely wrong, right? So try and think in those terms, hack your brain. Sometimes your instincts are completely wrong, and realize that and be happy with it, and just work to conquer your brain or your instincts. Use your brain to conquer your instincts. And I hope that kind of helps point you in a direction that if you've been kind of in a rut, or you've been not as successful as you want to be, you know, maybe that might be the answer, or that might be the ticket for you to turn things around or to get to the next level. That's all I got for you guys. Take care. Happy training. Bye now.